Joining me right now is the president of the American Action Forum, former Congressional Budget Office Director and former McCain campaign advisor, Douglas Holtz-Eakin. Doug, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. What'd you make of McConnell's statement there? So it's okay for the states to go bankrupt and just use it as cover.
Well, some states, Illinois in particular, have extraordinary pension problems that have been around for a long, long time. And it's been recognized that they're going to have to somehow deal with these, and they simply haven't. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. Certainly states and localities are suffering from the pandemic. You know, the customers went away, the revenue went away for the businesses, but the sales taxes went away too. And with all the unemployment, the income taxes are going away. So there are some legitimate concerns about state and local governments, but borrowing money now to fix these pension problems has nothing to do with the pandemic. This is a problem that the states should take on. If they had access to bankruptcy, it would be a good way to work it out and have all the stakeholders share the pain. And I think it's a pretty common sense observation by the majority leader.
So what do you do, though, in terms of all of this spending, Doug? I mean, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said that, quote, we need to spend what it takes to overcome the coronavirus crisis. You know, and now we're talking about the amount of debt that this country faces, $22 trillion, just about the size, even bigger than the size of our economy.
Yeah, this is an extraordinary moment. I mean, certainly for someone like me, I never dreamed we'd see these kinds of numbers. We'll probably have a federal deficit of $4 trillion this year, very easily. And the reality is that in this moment, those monies are being used to keep the infrastructure of the U.S. economy in place during the worst of this pandemic, to keep people attached to their employers. And those are dollars well spent. And I think the lesson here is twofold. First, you shouldn't start a pandemic with $1 trillion deficit, because that's $1 trillion we could have used every year to try to fight this nasty plague. And in the aftermath of this, we're going to have to get the debt under control. Everyone's talked about it and paid lip service to it, but no one's really done anything, and it's time.
Brian Brenberg.
Yeah, Douglas, you know, the longer that these stimulus bills go on, the more rounds that we get of this, the more likely it is that they start to cover things that existed before the coronavirus pandemic ever arose. You're seeing that with the states now. They want to solve problems that really have nothing to do with coronavirus. You're seeing Congress talking about more and more regulations on business, which ends up killing the growth that was driving the economy. It seems to me we need to stop these stimulus bills as soon as possible, because the longer they go on, the more they undermine the real strength of the economy.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I mean, there are two different things. There's the act of preserving the businesses and their attachment to the workers through the lockdown and the worst of the plague. But then there's, what do you do afterwards? And afterwards, you go back to growth. The problem is not going to be stimulus, sort of throwing money at people. It's going to be getting people into their jobs. It's going to be making workplaces safe for people to interact. And if that's done, then the economy will take care of itself. The U.S. economy has weathered enormous headwinds over over 250 years that it's been around. It's become the largest, most powerful economy on the globe for a reason. You don't need to manage it from Washington. You need to get out of the way, and so the time for stimulus has passed. We've done that job.
Yeah.
Now it's time to turn to just having the economy grow.
Dagan.
Doug, it's Dagan McDowell. Is there any way taxes don't go up on the rich to pay for all this? Maybe 2 years from now, maybe 4. Is there any way to avoid that?
I think if you roll the clock forward 2, 3, 4 years and you have any fiscal reality whatsoever, we're going to see revenue go up. So the pressing question is how? How do you raise the revenue? Do you do it in a punitive, destructive fashion like the Sanders or Warren wealth taxes? Or do you do the things that we have always known are the right way to raise revenue, broaden bases, keep rates low, and let the economy's growth drive the revenue up? I hope we see the latter. I'm certainly concerned about the former.
All right, great to talk with you this morning. Thanks so much. Douglas Holtz-Eakin joining us this morning on all of that debt.